As I'm getting up to speed with YouTube and being a YouTuber and all of this kind of thing, I'm going through all my old YouTube channels and finding all this ancient video that I've recorded over the years and republishing some of it that I don't know, maybe you'll find a little interesting. So I found this one FanBridge interview that I did with myself, basically in December of 2012, where there were 9 questions they wanted me to respond to. So I did that. It's about 12 minutes or so, a little more, a little less. So check it out. Hope you like it.
Hi friends, it's Jess Miller. Welcome to FanBridge. It's a pretty cool tool. It's asking me a question to respond to for you, for your entertainment. Where am I from and how did that influence me? I'm from a little town called Stanton, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. It's about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C., in the mountain region of Virginia. That's closer to West Virginia than the Piedmont region and the Tidewater region, which is down by the Chesapeake Bay. It was a beautiful place to grow up. This is in the George Washington National Forest. I loved it there. There were lots of musicians. There was lots of music. It was a real cultural center. Of course, being really close to Washington, D.C. like that, there's just a lot of influence and influx of everything. So there was a lot of progressive rock in the area when I was coming up. So yeah, it was a fantastic place to get my musical start. How would I describe my style? That's rough, being on the inside of it. I'm too close to it. That's something better left to you, really. But I'll give it my best shot. You know, it's certainly erratic. I'm a product of my influences and then some. I had somebody once ask me if they thought I was more like my mother or my father, and I said, well, you know, I'm probably a third like my mother and a third like my father, and then there's another third of me that's in the middle that's not like either one of them. That's me, you know. So how would I describe my style? Well, you know, I grew up in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia in the Blue Ridge Mountains, really, so there's a lot of bluegrass there, actually. So that's in here, but there was also a lot of progressive rock. You know, I grew up, I'm a late baby boomer, you know, so I'm part of that huge demographic that loved music. You know, I came up from rock. You know, Hendrix was a huge influence way back when. So, you know, there's definitely a funkiness to what I do and a rockiness to what I do. I'm a guitar player, so that's going to influence that as well. But my mother was a piano teacher, so there's some classical background as well. Oh, geez, how would I describe my style? Well, it's my hope certainly that it's, you know, unique. But once again, I'll defer to the aforementioned, and it's a third this and a third that, and that comes together to make the final third that I would like to think is closer to being original and unique anyway. So drop me a line. Let me know what you think. If I could meet anyone from the past or present, who would that be? Well, I'd start with all the philosophers of old, you know, Lao Tzu, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, all those guys, Jesus Christ, the Buddha, everyone. You know, of course, I think it would be pretty handy to have as much instruction as possible. Fast forward to now, of course, I'd love to meet Quincy Jones. I'd love to meet, well, Eric Martin would have been great to meet. Clive Davis. You know, it's a long, long list. But there's a start. What advice would I give beginner artists? You know, the best advice there would be don't try to do it all yourself. Stand on the shoulders of all those who have come before. Learn from their mistakes. Take lessons, if that's what that means to you, formal lessons or informal lessons. You know, but the bottom line is we've got all these people around us to learn from. So learn, study, do your homework, do your preparation, be as good as you possibly can. I've heard the definition of success described as the place where preparation meets opportunity. So get prepared so when opportunity presents itself, you can take fullest advantage of it. What are my goals? My current goal, of course, is to get this CD done. Current working title is One Groove, the concept being a one world concept. I'm utilizing as many musicians as I can from all over the world. This is instrumental music, contemporary jazz, and it is now worldwide. It's everywhere. There are festivals all over the world. So we are, in fact, all dancing to the tune of the same drummers now in 2013. So that's my current goal. Beyond that, of course, I'd love to solve as many of the world's problems as I possibly can. I would like to think that there are many of us that have that same goal, and that is, of course, to accumulate wealth and redistribute it to those that we see that have need. I have a number of charities, to include orphanages in Africa, Ghana specifically, Accra actually, as well as the people in my immediate sphere I see that are just ailing from health issues. My neighbor, in fact, has a really bad leg and not much insurance. He just had his hip replaced. The nurses weren't paying attention, in fact, and left him unattended for a moment, so he fell and broke that leg. So he definitely needs help. There are lots of charities and people, individuals and organizations that need help, and I'd certainly love to. I would, of course, love to get music back in our schools, because I think it's a tremendous source of enrichment for young people. I've had many, many students throughout my career as a teacher who, once they found music to sink their brains into, got out of trouble. So, yeah, I'd love to make the world a better place for all of us. What was the question? What's the best advice I've ever received? Well, once again, the first thing that comes to my mind is the most recent advice I've received, and that is get crowdfunded. So that's pretty good. So here we are on FanBridge recording these videos and connecting it to Pledge Music. So, boy, please come help me get this CD finished. Any donation that you can make, $1, $2, $5, $10, $20 would be great. If you can do more, that'd be fantastic. Of course, we'll offer a number of rewards and prizes and reciprocations to those that would like to do so, to include being privy to information in the making thereof, along with special offerings that only those connected here would have access to. So please do stay in touch. The easiest way to find me, of course, is jasmiller.com, JASMILLER.com, with or without the 3 W's. So yes, crowdfunding, that's pretty good advice, don't you think? What's the best YouTube video I've ever seen? Based on what? I suppose today it's the 28th of December, 2012. We're just about to roll over into the year 2013. So I suppose based on volume alone, that would be Gangnam Style, which just crossed over the 1 billion views marker as of 12/21/2012, the supposed end of the world according to the Mayan calendar. So that's monumental. Other than that, oh geez, there are so many great videos. I'm a huge fan of DirtyLoops.com and their ultra funky remakes of pop tunes, and of course they've just got signed to Universal, etc. I just saw the Hendrix documentary that came out in 2004 in 3 parts, The Uncut Story. That really blew my mind. But all these are recent, so I'm just culling from, what I've just seen. My blog, I suppose, is the best video content I've ever made. So you can check that out. There's also my Come and Get It video that Joan Lawson produced. Now that's pretty cool. The Paul Brown produced song and tune, and the video is produced by Joan, and of course I played on it. So check all that out. What are my guilty pleasures? I don't know if I'd call them guilty pleasures necessarily, but I understand the concept, and that is, what luxury items, I suppose. And of course, there are a number of those. I love a good drink that I do. I also like a good nap, which, I prefer that I never needed to sleep. I'd get so much more done. But yeah, typically for me, I'll sleep, maybe 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours overnight. Go to bed kind of late, between midnight and 2, and then I like to get up at 6, which means I'm going to need a nap midday. So, yeah, I suppose that's maybe my guiltiest pleasure. That and the standard fare, chocolate, of course. Foods that aren't necessarily all that healthy, such as pizza, etc. And of course, I love traveling and spending money on stuff I don't necessarily need. What did I want to be when I grew up? Well, I don't know if I ever necessarily had aspirations to be a fireman or a policeman or a pilot or any of that stuff. Both my parents performed. They were both, musically involved. My dad was a big band sax player, clarinet player. My mother was a piano teacher and also folk guitar player. This was in Stanton, Virginia. She used to play on the same bill with the Statler brothers, who were from there, on and on. So, I don't know, I really wanted to be a musician from the beginning. I think I really decided on that when I was about 8. And I can remember my first singles. I think I bought 2 at the same time, being the Troggs' Wild Thing, which of course Jimi Hendrix later covered, and Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs' Hey There Little Red Riding Hood. So, from that time, it just struck me as the fun thing to do. I just, I could see that my parents both worked a lot, and so it occurred to me that I'd better choose something that I'm going to love, so I'll be successful at it. So, yeah, from the time when I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a musician.
Hey, and while I'm at it, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell, all that good stuff, share, whatever. I mean, what I'm endeavoring to do is bolster my views so I can get paid. It's kind of the whole point. And YouTube's algorithm knows to do that. First of all, you got to have 1,000 followers, and I'm working towards that. So please do subscribe, or 1,000 subscribers, I should say. So please do click that button, smash that button, whatever you want to do. Get that button subscribed to, and I'll catch y'all soon. Peace. Or Peach, if you prefer.